morning, Amy. So today, I guess we're talking about perfect pairings. And I took it a little bit literal because we're using pear in our stuff today. But, you know, everybody's pairing red wine and beef or white wine and fish, or nobody's ever pairing sangria. And sangria is really popular in the summer. You're going to be back on the barbecue in the backyard. You're probably going to have a nice big pitcher of sangria. So why don't we make a chutney that we can put on the top of some chicken or fish that's kind of sangria based, so you can drink it and you can eat it at the same time. And it's a really simple recipe. We're going to involve some onion, some pears that we diced, some sliced red seedless grapes, a little bit of cinnamon to give it that kind of sangria flavor with some basil, a little honey to sweeten it, and then some red wine. You could use a Merlot or a Cab or whatever you wanted. I used a Merlot. So it's just going to be that stupid simple. So first off, we've got a pan that we're getting hot, and we're going to add some olive oil. Turn it up a little bit. And to that, we're going to add our onions and our pears, because we want to get those to start caramelizing. So we've got our onion, and that's just a medium dice on that, as well as the pears. Now, if you're so inclined to use apples for this recipe, that's not a problem either. We're just going to give them a toss around. And we're going to let those kind of caramelize. We're going to build those sugars and flavors up in there through cooking it. And if you wanted to experiment with this and say try it with a port wine or something other than a red wine, you know, have some fun with it. This is just a good, fun beginning way to get started with it. So as we're sitting and caramelizing, we would want to start adding a few of our other things. So let's imagine for now that this has gotten nice and golden brown and delicious. We could stand here and wait for it, but that might get a little bit boring. I mean, maybe a little bit more exciting than watching paint dry, but not quite. But at that point, we would add in our red seedless grapes. Now, if you wanted to use green grapes, if you wanted to use cranberries, if you wanted to use blueberries, sky's the limit. Have some fun with it. So we toss those all in, and we let those all keep cooking together. And at that point, we're going to add our cinnamon stick. Now, we got to remember to take it out because you're not going to want somebody to eat that. But we're just going to let it hang out there and kind of become a nice flavor in the background. And then for the red wine, it's about 2 cups that we would add. And eventually, these pears, these onions, the grapes, they're all going to get that nice kind of burgundy color. So we would bring this to a boil, and then we would let it slow down and simmer until our liquid gets a little bit thicker. You know, the sugars are going to kind of come out of the pineapple a little bit and help thicken this liquid. And just through natural reduction, boiling off, it's going to start to thicken. When we got to that point, we would want to go ahead and sweeten it up. So that's where our honey comes in. So we've got about a 1/4 cup of honey that we're going to add. And then right after the honey, we've got some fresh chopped basil. You know, farmer's market in the summer, there's always a vast amount of basil. And to me, it's just a great flavor combination with the red wine, the basil, the cinnamon. So we would take this and we would keep cooking it until it came all the way down, and eventually we're going to get this color right here. And it's going to have that great kind of almost mulled wine smell like your sangria. And this would be perfect again on some chicken, or you know, if you're throwing some fish on the grill, or even perhaps some shrimp. But for us, we've got just a little grilled chicken breast. We take a nice spoonful, and you could serve this hot or cold. It doesn't really matter, but just a lot, I guess, is more than a little bit on there. Just put some right on the top, and there you go. I mean, if you wanted to, at the end of it, hit it with a little salt and pepper. But, you know, at the end, you might find that it's got a perfect flavor. Always taste before you season. And there you go, a nice pear and grape sangria chutney for your chicken or fish this summer on the grill.